Yes, we must build a town, a community, a signing community, a fully integrated, completely accessible, bilingual community for everyone. Do I mean just for deaf people? No, 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 no. It doesn't matter if you're deaf, if you're hard of hearing, if you have a cochlear implant, everyone is welcome. But why should we start a community like this? Let's look at some facts and statistics. According to Wikipedia, 25% of the world's population has had no formal education. That's 25% of people all over the world. But what about deaf people? The World Federation of the Deaf assumes that 80% of deaf people have had no formal education. 80% and 25%? Those two numbers aren't even close. And I'm stunned by that discrepancy. Now let's look at employment. Before the ADA was passed, 63% of people with disabilities did not have a job. But when the ADA was passed, that number increased to 65%. Now, do I agree with deaf people being labeled as disabled? No, but that's just how it goes for now. If you look at federal employees who are disabled, the Office of Personnel Management has actually counted and collected data on this topic. And they've narrowed people with disabilities into subcategories like mental retardation, blindness, low vision, and so forth. And then they take those people and they put them on a scale of GS1 through GS15. The higher you are on the scale, the more responsibility and higher pay you have. There are a whole bunch of deaf people in the grouping of GS1 through GS7, but when you look at GS8 through GS15, the amount of deaf people drastically drops. Here in America, there are 510,000 elected officials. That's according to favp.org. 510,000. And that's including federal, state, city, and county officials. And they're not appointed, but they're elected. 510,000 of them altogether. How many people are there in America right now? About 307 million people. If you divide those two numbers, you get a very, very small decimal. But what about how many deaf people are in America that use sign language every day? My guess would be around 400,000. So if you multiply 400,000 by that very, very small decimal, you get 665 elected officials that should be representing us as deaf people. But how many of them are there today? Zero. Absolutely zero. A close friend of mine is going through the process of adopting a deaf child out of foster care. And he shared something with me recently that absolutely floored me. When they started the adoption process, the foster care people were so grateful. Why is that though? Because deaf people or deaf children in the foster care system are adopted last. They are adopted after children who have very severe disabilities that require more daily care and more physical attention. All of these facts and all these statistics are giving us a hint. If you think about it, do we own our deaf schools? Do we own them? Do we make decisions for them? Do we manage them? No, we don't. The state owns them.